People ask me, how do I manage my time when everything is urgent all the time? This is the chaos system. And by the end of the series, you'll have a completely different relationship with your calendar. Let's go. Think about last week. You sat down at your desk or your kitchen table or wherever you work with some kind of intention for the week. Maybe you had a list. Maybe you had a plan in your head. Maybe you had your calendar with things blocked out. And then Monday happened. The emails that came in over the weekend, the client who needed something urgently, the invoice that was late, the staff question that only you could answer, the supplier who called, the system that broke. What about the task you promised someone last week that you forgot about until they reminded you this morning? And you know how it goes. By 10 o'clock, you hadn't touched anything that would actually grow your business. By noon, you were already behind, and important things, almost none of them budged. You were busy all week, but were you building? Busy and building, not the same thing. And your calendar right now, as it stands, is probably doing a very good job of keeping you busy and a very poor job of helping you build. It's not a character thing. It's not a character failing. It's a design problem. Design problems have design solutions. So let's just have a look at 2 calendar traps that we fall into. In my experience, there are 2 kinds of broken calendars, and they look completely different, but they produce exactly the same result. The first is the full calendar. This person has everything in their diary, back-to-back meetings, tasks, blocking every hour, color-coded categories, recurring events, time slots for everything. It looks incredibly organized from the outside. But here's the problem. The full calendar is usually built around other people's needs. The tasks are in the slots that were left over after the meetings. The important, creative work, the work that nobody is demanding from you right now, but that would change the trajectory of the business, that work keeps getting pushed over to next week because this week is already full. The full calendar founder feels productive. They're on emotion every hour of every day. But at the end of the quarter, the business is the same size it was at the beginning because everything was urgent and nothing was important. The empty calendar. I call this the next step. This person has almost nothing scheduled because experience has taught them that nothing goes to plan anyway. The interruptions arrive regardless. The children need something. The unexpected happens. So why block time? Just creates frustration when the plan falls apart. The empty calendar founder has given up on planning and is now fully reactive. They respond to whatever arrives. They put out fires. They do what the day demands. And they wonder why they never make progress on the things that matter, without quite seeing that the reason is that those things were never in the calendar. So they never get done. It all work as the same kind of work. But your time is not one thing, and your energy is not one thing, and your work is definitely not one thing. The energy reality that most systems ignore is what we're going to discuss next. Your brain has different operating modes. When you're doing creative work, that's now writing a marketing strategy, recording a podcast, designing a system, building a funnel, your brain is in what neuroscientists call a default mode network state combined with focused attention. That's big words for saying just that it's drawing on imagination, pattern recognition, long-term memory, and associative thinking. And you know what it really is? It's your right brain type of thinking. It's creative thinking. It takes time to enter. You have to enter into the state. It takes 10 to 15 minutes of uninterrupted work before you actually get into it. It's fragile. So when you hear a notification coming in, a ping, or somebody asks you a question, or there's a phone call, you're out of it immediately. Your brain's a completely different mode. That's left brain. It's sequential, it's logical, it's reactive. This mode doesn't need warm-up time. You can sit down and go. You can dip in and out of it. Interruptions are annoying, but not catastrophic. It doesn't stop you in your tracks. For example, when you're in a meeting, a real conversation with another person, your brain is now in relational mode. You're reading faces, you're listening actively, you're managing the dynamics in the room, you're choosing your words carefully. You have to take other people's feelings into account. This also has its own energy budget, separate from both the creative and operational modes. And when you're in rest, well, genuine rest, not scrolling, not half working, your brain is consolidating, processing, and replenishing. And that's why rest is so important. The insights you need for your creative work are often generated during rest, not during your work time. This is why you solve problems in the shower. It's not a quirk, it's a feature. Now here's the problem. Most business owners mix all of these modes together in the same hour. They jump from a creative design session to answering 3 emails, to a client call, to an invoice, to another email. And their brain is paying a switching cost every single time. Every time you change modes, the brain needs to reorient. That reorientation costs energy and time. And if you're switching modes 30 times a day, you are burning an enormous amount of cognitive fuel in the transitions. Fuel that belongs to actual creative work. It should have belonged to actual creative work. And you're not tired because you work too much. You're tired because you switched modes too many times. The chaos system is the solution to this, not by eliminating the different kinds of work. That's not possible. By giving each kind of work its own dedicated time, so the brain isn't constantly switching, and it knows what to expect. So you can go deep in the creative work because you know the operational work has its own time. You can leave it be until you get to that pocket of time. You can be fully present in a meeting because you're not mentally carrying 15 unanswered emails or hoping that the guy will just finish talking, that you can get on to the next thing. You can rest properly because the work is contained, not leaking into every hour of every day. Because your relationships at home will pay for that. Let me show you the framework. Chaos. The word chaos has 5 letters. And we're going to allocate 5 time blocks, 5 different energy modes. And all of them are necessary. And all of them are different. And all of them need their own space in your week. Or in your day, but yeah, I prefer to not have all 5 on one day. Today we're going to go deep on the first, because that's a foundation. So you can get the picture before we go into detail. C is for creative focus. This is your right brain work. The work that requires imagination, original thinking, and deep concentration. That's when you get in the zone. Things like marketing strategy, content creation, podcast, script generation, recording, editing, website design. What about ads? It's all creative. You have to use your imagination, come up with new ideas. Building automations, writing a book, proposal, a course, or a script like this one. Creative work is the most valuable work you can do. Well, in my opinion. It's also the most vulnerable work you do because it cannot be done in leftover time. You cannot produce meaningful creative output in the 20 minutes between two meetings. You cannot build a marketing strategy in the gaps between email responses. The creative brain does not work that way. C work needs a block. Uninterrupted, silenced block, where there's no sound coming in, where you've given yourself permission to think. And not just any block, it must be your best block, your highest energy block. It's the time of day when your cognitive energy is the highest. For most people, that is the morning. For some, it's after the school run settles. For others, it's late at night when other people go to sleep. You know when you think best. That time is your C block. Here's what I do with my C block. And I tell you this, not to prescribe my schedule, but just to make it concrete. As an example, Monday is my C day, my creative day. The whole day. Monday is when I record podcasts, work on content, do any creative strategy work for me and my clients. My phone is on silent. There are no meetings on Mondays, just the community. Not even a quick 15-minute check-in, because the moment I allow a meeting on my C day, I have broken the creative frequency and it costs me hours to get it back. I spend Tuesdays marketing the podcast. It's the uploading, scheduling, writing descriptions, creating social posts. That work looks creative, but it's actually systematic, and I work on templates. So it's left brain work initially, and then it's just post, activate, get into it. So it goes into a different slot, and also the different stages of that work will go the creative in the morning and the admin of it in the afternoon. And now we're working on towards automation of the active work. The point is not that you must do what I do. The point is that you must make a deliberate decision about which days and which times are your creative hours and what you want to do in it. Then you must protect them the way you protect a client commitment. Because your creative work is a commitment to yourself and your business. If you don't commit this time trying to build, it won't grow. It deserves the same level of protection as anything else on your calendar. It's not the one thing that you can just move out. One more thing about C blocks. They require preparation the night before, not the morning of. The night before or the day before, you decide what the C block is for. You prepare the material. You know exactly what you're sitting down to do when the block starts. Because the moment you sit down and spend the first 20 minutes deciding what to work on, you've already lost the warm-up time. So that's time wasting in my eyes. The decision has to be made before the session, not during it. C is creative focus. Right brain must be protected. You must go into it prepared and use the best hours of your day when your energy is the highest. Before we go into the rest of the framework, I want to connect this specifically to what we're building today and to a C block because it's relevant. One of the biggest energy drains in any founder's week is marketing confusion, because you know you have to market. You know you need to be doing something, social media, ads. So you either do it yourself or you pay someone and can't tell if they're doing it well. Either way, your marketing tasks are scattered across the whole week, eating into time that should belong to your most important work. There's another category of people that even if you can do it well, you hate doing it. Just employ somebody then, man. But in the chaos system we're building today, marketing belongs in your C block, in your creative focus, protected time. You can make sure you understand what you're going to do in that creative time. And if you don't know and you're interested in training, DigiWiz Academy has a self-paced online digital marketing foundations course built specifically for business owners. It links in the description. Okay, let's now move on to the H block, handling operations. This is your left brain work, the operational engine of your business. It's for invoicing, processing emails in a batch, admin tasks, staff check-ins, system updates. The H work will expand to fill whatever space you give it, if you let it. H work will eat your entire day, and you'll feel productive and accomplished and exhausted. While the C work that would actually change your business's trajectory sits untouched for another week. The foundational rule of the chaos system, the one that changes everything once you actually apply it, is this. Never put C work and H block in the same time block. On Tuesdays, I have my whole marketing day for the podcast. This is where I have to have different blocks. One block is for the creative part of it, and the other block is for the admin, or the H block. They use different parts of your brain, they require different preparation, and they produce different kinds of output. I truly cannot focus on one and do it well, and focus on the other one and do it well. Why? What I find is that when I try to do operational stuff while I'm in creative mode, I make mistakes. I truly do, because I don't think logically through it enough to not make the mistake. So I have to split them out. That's why I have it in 2 different days now, as far as I can. This is why the classic habit of, I'll just quickly check my email before I start on a strategy, is destructive. The moment you open email, H work, you have primed your brain for the reactive response mode. I actually go into a different mode every time. And I think if you just think about it, I think you'll find that you do too. Even if you only check for 2 minutes, even if nothing urgent appears and you know that it will appear, the mode has been activated. Getting your brain back into deep creative mode takes 15 to 20 minutes of uninterrupted work. But you know what? The email stays closed until the C block is finished. Full stop. Even if you are sitting there and nothing happens, the next C block that you do the strategy with, you'll see, because your brain is now thinking, it's primed to start thinking about this problem. Next time you sit down with this creative work, it will actually happen. It will come. Then you will get into it easier. Now, I know some of you are already protesting. You're thinking, but what if something urgent comes in? What if a client needs something immediately? What if my team is waiting for a decision? I broke this rule a couple of weeks back. Just before recording live with this community, I opened my email. And there was a complaint from a client, a strong complaint, directed specifically at me. I was in trouble. It derailed me totally. I still did what I had to do, but the energy in the meeting and in the recording was compromised. That's just how it works. Very little that arrives in email at 9 in the morning cannot wait until 11. And if you're in a support role, that is what the support line is for. It will go into the system and be handled. You don't have to be there 100% of the time. And you know what? Most of what feels urgent in the moment, it's not actually urgent. It's merely new. New and urgent are not the same thing. They're not. So set your email to send and receive only at designated times. Most email clients let you do this. Check email at 9, 12:30 and 4, for instance. 3 email sessions per day. I only do 2. Everything that arrives gets handled in those windows. If something is genuinely urgent, people know how to call. And your voicemail can tell him you'll respond within an hour. So I only do 2 slots because otherwise it just reduces my time because there are always things to handle when the email comes in. I know it feels radical. I know it does. It felt radical to me when I first implemented this, and I'm talking about 20 years ago that I started implementing this. It's not something I'm trying for a week. When I started implementing this, I realized that almost nothing I was treating as urgent actually needed me within an hour. And I just want to paint a picture here. 20 years ago, I had 14 projects running simultaneously for a corporate company. So it's not as if I didn't have a lot to do. I had a lot to do, and that is why I had to put the guardrails around my email so that it wouldn't derail me every 15 minutes. I could handle it in my 2 time slots. I think I did 9 o'clock in the morning and 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And it worked. It just worked. Because then I could really focus on what I was doing and could get through my work quicker. And the things that was really emergencies, people called. They called someone else. They get hold of you somehow. H-work also has its own ideal time of day. And for most people, it's not first thing in the morning. Your creative energy is typically highest in the morning. And I know you do get night owls. So it's not everybody. I am a morning person. Your sequential operational energy often peaks in the early afternoon between 1 and 3. I like to do this just after lunch. So that's when many people assume they hit a slump. That post-lunch dip isn't ideal for creative work, but it's perfectly suited for processing, responding, organizing, and handling things. Put your H block there. So how can we put this in practice? Let's make it concrete. I want to give you an example of a day that shows what days actually could look like. Not as a prescription, but as a starting point you can adopt to your reality. Morning, your C blocks. Let's say 10 to 12, depending on your life stage, of course, if you have children or not. But the 2 hours you have to find. Phone off, do not disturb. Email closed, no meetings, no check-ins. The project you're working on, and only that project, is open in front of you. What you work on in the C block is decided the night before or the day before. Not the same morning, not the morning of. You don't sit down and wonder what to do. You sit down and do the thing that you decided already. Folders on your desk. Documents are ready. For me, this recording setup is done, and you start. Joining the Compassion.Biz co-working sessions is perfect for the C block, because there's a group of people that will help you remember when to stop. We are so used to responding and having the phone with us and on all the time, every day, the whole day, that we actually feel like something is missing. We've lost something. You have to put it down for 2 hours. Put it away for 2 hours. For 2 hours, you can do this. If you go to a movie for 2 hours, you're not answering your phone in a movie. I hope not. So maybe they do now. Who knows? I definitely won't. And just after lunch, you can do the H block. Then end of the day, 15 minutes, review what you've got done. Write down what C block you want to do tomorrow. And then close everything and stop. Just stop. That last step, closing everything and stopping, is more important than it sounds. The brain needs a clear signal that work is done. If you work until the moment you go to bed with the laptop open and the phone ready, your brain does not get that signal. It keeps generating half thoughts about work. You wake up with a thought about work too early. And the next morning, you arrive at your C block already depleted because your brain never actually rested. You were busy the whole night. The day template I just described is a CNH structured day. It's not complicated and it does not require an app. It requires one decision: to treat your morning as sacred and to treat your operational work as necessary but contained. Find the window that belongs to you, even if it's small, even if it's imperfect. Protect it, make it consistent. That's your C block. Before we close today, I want to give you something to do. Today or tonight, or before you go to sleep. Here's your CNH audit. Step 1. Take last week, any 5-day work week you can remember, and write down every type of task you did. Not every individual task, every type of task. Client emails, admin, strategy sessions, social media posts, meetings, invoicing, content creation, system updates, staff questions, anything you spent more than 30 minutes on in the week. Step 2. Put a C or an H next to each type. C is for creative, right brain, imaginative, strategic, original, or H is for handling operations, left brain, sequential, systematic, administrative. If something doesn't fit neatly into C or H, if it feels relational, personal, like neither, put a question mark next to it. We'll sort those into the next episodes. The A and the O and the S blocks, or where those things live. Step 3, count the hours. How many hours were C hours? How many were H hours? What's the ratio? Most business owners, when they do this for the first time, discover that their C hours are somewhere between 0 and 3 per week. 3 hours of creative, strategic building work in a 40 or 50-hour work week. Everything else was handling operational tasks, relational and reactive. 3 hours of building in 40 hours of working. And that ratio is why the business isn't growing as fast as you know it could. Not because you're not working hard enough, but because you're not building enough. Let's do the creative work, the CEO work. Step 4, look at your calendar for next week. Identify where you can put a daily C block. 90 minutes minimum. I prefer 2 hours. That's ideal. At the time of day when your creative energy is the highest. In the beginning, you might have to try different times to see how it works, but do it a week at a time so that you can really get into it. And join the Compassion.Biz co-working sessions to book your slot. You can put it in your calendar right now. Not as a vague intention, but as a scheduled appointment with a start time and an end time. That's why the co-working sessions work, because other people will know if you don't show up. Then name it something that means something to you. A creative block, build time, focus session, studio time, whatever resonates. And treat it with the same commitment you treat a client meeting. Because here's the truth. Your clients are getting your time. Your calendar is getting their meetings. And your own most important work, the work that builds the business, that serves those clients, is getting the leftovers. When your energy is really almost, or actually depleted. That changes this week. 1 C block, every working day. Maybe you'd like to do this challenge. For every day you didn't spend 2 hours on building your business, put your hourly rate in a bin, in a drawer. That will give you a visual reminder how important this work is, how much time you've now wasted, how much money you wasted not spending that time. Let me show you what the C and H separation looks like in my actual week. Monday is my C day, my creative day. The whole day is creative. I record podcasts, because recording is right brain, presence-based creative work, and it needs my best energy. Also when I do my community, because it's so important to me, there are no meetings. So if a client tries to book a Monday meeting, I offer them a Friday or a Wednesday instead. Most are perfectly fine with this. Tuesday is a different energy, still a creative adjacent mode, marketing the podcast. A little bit of creative and then admin and going through the motions. It's H work that requires me to still be in a high energy mode, at least in the beginning, because this is still new. Wednesday through Friday is client work, meetings, client visits, Google Ads management, operational work. That's my left brain, relational and responsive types of work. These are H and A days, arranged meetings. We'll get into that next week. This is my current season. Your work life might look different. Your season of life might work different. You might have kids at home, you know? I don't. So you might be in a phase where you can't give a whole day to your creative work, but then give it the morning. The principle is the same. Protect your C blocks, your creative time. Contain the H. Design the boundary between them. What matters is not that your week look like mine. What matters is that you stop letting other people's urgency decide what your week looks like. And before you go, 2 things. First, the C&H audit I described today, the process of identifying your creative hours, separating them from your operational hours, and building the weekly template. This is something we do together inside of Compassion.Biz community. We run co-working sessions specifically designed for your C blocks. 2 hours, keep the timer running. We have a timekeeper. And everyone in the virtual room is working on their most important project. No meetings, no interruptions, just building. If you've been struggling to protect your creative time because you're doing it alone, come do it with us. There's something about being in a room, even a virtual one, with other founders who are also protecting their focus time, that makes it real in a way that solo attempts often don't. Head to Compassion.Biz. Links in the description. Second, subscribe. So the next episode of the Chaos System finds you automatically when it drops. See you in Season 2, Part 2.